because like you were talking about, Dagda, I think that the Lucian ban is almost a necessity. I thought that that was going to be a big reason why it was going to be a difficult series for G2, but instead, they're going to ignore it completely, and the Varus will be locked in, so we won't even be dealing with it, of course. Top Esports not too worried about the Hans Sama Lucian this time around.
It definitely feels like a test on both sides, though, where you're looking going, hey, are you going to be able to pick up the Lucian now, Hans Sama and Mickey? Is this something that we really have to worry about? Personally, I don't think they do. But it's definitely kind of a call out from Top Esports saying, look, we're happy to just take the Varus. Are you going to pick up the Lucian, or are you just going to go for the Kalista instead?
I mean, so far, Hans Sama has prioritized the Kalista primarily to give them push and control over the bot lane. We've seen G2 really willing to fight these teams on the bot side of the map. My concern for G2 comes from this Tristana Maokai that we saw from Top Esports when they played up against Gen G. I think that, I mean, fun fact, Creme hasn't lost on Tristana this year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be taken away by G2. I think that this is such an important pickup because Creme, I think, has been struggling a little bit this MSI to find his form, figure out what champions. We know that he has the Ahri in his back pocket to bring out, but in the Gen G series, his wins were on Tristana and Corki against Chovy, of all people. So I wonder if their priorities have shifted, and G2 seem to have identified that and want to take the Tristana away.
I am curious, though, if they were hovering the Lee Sin there, whether it would be the Lee Sin Ahri and they just play for that hyper-aggressive mid lane, but it looks like Creme going to go fall back to this Azir. It was the other pickup that he really had in playoffs that was one of his big proponents, so not fully surprised to see him go towards it. And if you've got that push on bot side coming through from Varus, and now potential some control coming through from the Azir in mid, Xin Zhao a good opportunity to look for some of these early skirmishes and play off that lane push.
I feel like the Maokai has to be a high priority here for G2. It's the very common pairing alongside the Tristana to try and guarantee a little bit more AP damage in the composition. G2, though, maybe they're telling us that they have more in the back pocket in terms of what AP champions they can play, as the Leona is locked in for the first half.
Yeah, this has been something that Mickey's gone back towards. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think there's a lot of answers to it that can set up, even if you want to look towards something like a Thresh here for Meiko. He's been excellent on it. The Alistair has been excellent for Meiko as well, so you definitely want to try and put some attention into support bans, as you can see here with the Brom already taken away from G2. And if I'm Top Esports, as you say, I think I start to look towards those AP junglers to ban away. You could always fall back towards something like the Jax or something for Yike, but
Lilia,
you definitely want, the AP jungler like a Lilia or something along those lines to be the first port of call here for Yike.
I still think that Maokai is probably pretty high up on that priority list, but we'll see. The Lilia is in the minds of Top Esports. Maybe this ban is just them saying, yes, we have done our homework, by the way. Like, most of these bans feel pretty targeted. But I do like what G2 has in their hands so far. We'll see whether it is the Maokai, whether that's one's going to get banned away right now from
I was
top.
curious if that Renata is going to be taken off the board. I think it makes sense. Meiko is an exceptional Renata player, and I think that it just makes sense into these melee champions like the Leona. Now what's going to be the final jungle ban? We assume jungle, of course, because of the Xin Zhao lock-in. Maokai would be the obvious choice, but we know that G2 likes to cook. What have they cooked for us today? The Vayne ban heavily suggests that Top Esports is looking for a blind Ksante. Will G2 want to grab the Ksante now for themselves and actually save jungle for the end? Or perhaps they want to guarantee a counter pick for Broken Blade in top lane?
Well, I was going to say, I think BB's look great on the Twisted Fate, so I'd imagine you take your AP jungler here and then leave that potential counter pick where you just take the Twisted Fate on the opposite side. Unless 369 is thinking, hey, I can just try and swap
a different
Ivern.
Okay.
A bit of an Alyoya shout out from Domestic, but we know that Yike was a big enthusiast of the champion as well. Something we haven't seen at all here at MSI, but with double AD carry, it makes a lot of sense. Very supportive, great scaling, offers a huge amount of utility. You've got your engage with the Leona. You can clearly tell that G2 is looking to play more of that front-to-back style.
And is it going to be double AD carry or is it going to be triple? Because if Twisted Fate's locked in as well, then that is a lot of stand-in brush and get some value. I reckon. Kind of like the idea. That's the Ksante that we were expecting. Understandable here. Top Esports with one of the most cookie-cutter MSI 2024 drafts that we've seen, and G2 a little bit more off the wall, especially with Ivern now long-leggedly making his way onto the Rift.
Yeah, especially if you look at Top Esports when they're able to go for a poke Varus and the Azir. I do like the Ivern because you can get that early redemption, you got a lot of shielding, so you can try and dissuade some of that poke. It starts to come through early, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the TF coming through here. It's actually something that we did see a lot from Mad Lions in domestic. Not going to be the case.
Okay.
BB bringing out the Camille.
I don't know if I like this. Like, Camille is a very dive-centric champion. Against things like an Azir and Varus, it makes sense in terms of lockdown, but you're running double AD carry. You've got an Ivern. Is diving necessarily the goal, the game plan? Maybe if he wants to try and split Top Esports up, who's going to be playing a very traditional front-to-back composition. I was expecting more of a front line to be able to better facilitate these AD carries, but G2, they want more of a sideline threat, maybe more of a 1-3-1 comp with things like the Tristana and the Camille at their disposal.
And I think it is something that can work well against Top Esports. Top Esports like to get control with JackeyLove and then try and play a mid-centric off of mid-lane pushing, but if you completely control side lanes, it can be very difficult for you to get that control for Top Esports. We kind of saw it a little bit against Gen G, so or at least G2, bringing out some nice little creativity, which is much needed if you want to try and take down Top Esports.
And this is what we were asking about earlier on. It was, can G2 cook their way through this series? And I think they've already started. I think the kitchen's smelling pretty good. We'll just have to see whether it's going to work out here in game number 1. Top Esports, stock standard. G2, they've got the Ivern this time around. They've got a Camille for that top side of the map. Very interested to see how this one's going to go. Let's dive onto the Rift for game number 1. G2 trying to keep the LEC's hopes alive here at MSI up against Top Esports, who are looking dominant. It's a frightening one, gentlemen, but I think judging by this draft, we've got exactly what we wanted out of both of these teams. Right?
I mean, I will tell you right now, if you'd asked me last year or any other years prior to this one, Broken Blade picking Camille, how do I feel about that into 369? I'd be very concerned, but he has pleasantly surprised me at this tournament.
Oh yeah.
I did think that he had an overall solid year last year, but coming into this matchup, I was not expecting top lane to be a big win condition potential for G2.
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes to the training that BB has put in behind the scenes. He's talked about it at length in interviews, saying, hey, we brought in Alfari, wanted to make sure that I could up my laning phase and make sure that I am really a threat when it comes to the 1v1, and I think he's been exceptional so far. We saw the stats for Zach earlier on Atlus. You were giggling at the 80 carry level of damage that he was producing.
Yeah, what was it? Something like 750 DPM, which is a decent stat. Like, Jackie has highest in MSI right now, and he's on 800. That's only 50 behind this guy, Zach. It's silly. It says a lot about Broken Blade, also says a lot about Zach. And was banned this time around, so won't have to deal with it on the Top Esports side. But the problem is, if there's more things that they need to focus on, especially after a game like this, it'll be more difficult, as Creme already just taking a fully stacked explosive charge, and that is probably not the way you wanted to start the laning phase.
Definitely a rough start for Creme. If you wanted to work with Meiko to make sure that you could clear out this vision, to deny information away from G2 as to what Tian was up to, but Mickey was actually there to assist, dropped his ward as well, so they will be able to garner that information unless Tian is able to navigate his way around that. We keep our eyes on Yike, starting on the bot side, pathing up towards top, of course. He's going to be setting up those camps to be able to secure them later. And the beauty of this Ivern is if you're left uncontested, you're able to get that quick clear throughout all those camps, and you can be very active and spend a lot of time just roaming around and working with your team.
Well, we've got a Zenith Blade in towards the bottom side of the map. Mickey trying to keep them at bay, but Hansama taking so much damage. Jackie gonna have to back away as Meiko's flashing. Immediate flash to follow from Hansama, and there's first blood in the 2v2. This was a Top Esports win condition, and they're getting crushed.
This is not the way it's supposed to go at all in the bottom side of the map.
My bingo card's upside down.
Hands and Mickey getting the 2v2 first blood is huge, because we already looked at mid. Caps having that early advantage.
Oh, we knew it was Mickey just executes JackeyLove.
He overstays trying to fix the wave. He believes that Hans and Mickey have gone back to base, and the Hex Flash catches Jackie off guard.
Sorry, is this Hans and Mickey or Hans and Ignar?
That's what I was thinking.
Fervor Leona's back, baby!
Yeah, I don't know what Jackie was thinking there, because I think we all knew that it was going to be a Hex Flash angle in theory, but wanted to try and get as much of the farm as he could. Caps now able to get himself out of there, does manage to get that rocket jump off. Good wind becomes lightning from Tian just to make sure that he gets a little bit of damage down, and they do manage to at least make things okay in the mid lane, but the bottom lane is on fire.
So both teams actually hit level 2. Well, actually, JackeyLove and Meiko a little bit after. Good job on Meiko to help secure that for his team. Initial promising trade onto Hansama, but then he creates enough space from JackeyLove, uses the cleanse to dodge the ignite as well, and then the flash commit from Hans, nicely secured, means that G2 get themselves a 2v2 victory, and it's not just one, it's two.
And you can see there, because you end up cleansing the Ignite, it works out super well on the bot side. But now top end, Yike.
Yike turning up. 369 seeing whether he can get himself out of there, is not quite able to land it. And 369 will be okay, but does have to use the Ghost.
But this wave is in a bit of an unfortunate spot for 369. Really would like to get a crash, so you can see BB going to start to clear out some of these back minions, so they maybe can look for some sort of freeze. But yeah, it makes it difficult for 369 to step up. This is a very explosive early game. I was not expecting this to kick off the way it has.
Yeah, it's almost feeling like it's a little bit upside down, right? Because Creme had a decent push in the mid lane a little bit earlier on there. Now Cap's actually being able to take a little bit back. But with the bottom lane going so well for G2, I think that this game is feeling much better than even they were probably expecting.
What's crucial now is jungle involvement on the bot side of the map. There are no summoners here at all. Top Esports can quite easily swing this matchup if Tian can find a nice gank. And that's why being able to control this wave is going to be super important. Broken Blade, he's not too concerned. You look at the vision on the top side, he knows he's not at any risk of a gank right now. He should be able to secure this without any real threats. As now, the gank we were talking about appearing in bot.
Yeah, there it is once again. Yike turning up, and Hans Armour, he is hopping mad. Jackie, nowhere he can go. Meiko just going to have to walk away from it. And this bottom lane is done for Top Esports.
Great CC from Yike, the flash forward to get the Q. Because you can see where Meiko was positioned, he'd set up for the play, but now BB needs to get out of here.
369 going aggressive, does get him a nice little shield there, does Broken Blade. Now underneath his turret, Tian just biding his time, finally does just hold that wave, looking to get that crash. So under 200 health, let's see whether Broken Blade can keep himself alive. He's just going to try and deny the assist, and that will be successful at least.
It's all you can really do in that situation. Doesn't burn the flash, knows that he doesn't have the slingshot available as well, so just decides to back it on up. G2 will get Dragon in response, but at least it's something back for Top Esports.
I mean, G2 need to be concerned about how strong this Ksante could become later on. We saw how they were able to manage it when they played against PSG. The beauty of this Tristana is you are able to shred through those tanks, so they're definitely going to be less concerned as the game progresses. Creme relatively low as Meiko now coming over to cover.
Yeah, Cap's just continuing the push. Meiko just lying in wait, seeing whether he can stay out of Fog of War for a little while. Will eventually just walk up to the wave. We have a look. There is an Ivern in the wings. Not going to be needed just yet, though, just getting a crash.
I think it's a good call, though, to come in towards mid to get Creme the reset, because Top Esports really want to try and be able to contest for these Void Grubs if they're going to start to be taken. So Creme getting that quick reset off means he'll be able to come back into lane first. You can push out, which is why you're seeing G2 immediately start up the Void Grubs, because they know if Creme gets that reset in, there's no way they're really going to be able to contest for this.
Right now, the bottom of our screens is littered with red advantages. Outside of that kill that 369 was able to find, Hans Armour often finds himself on the weak side. Right now, it's to help secure the grubs for his team, which they should be able to lock down.
Yep, Tian does get the bad news that they're being taken, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about it. Although G2 are giving a lot of respect here.
Caps had to go back to base. Yeah. Dagda was just talking about it, right? The fact that Creme is able to come back out on the map means that they should be secured for Tian. But at the end of the day, G2 is not too upset about that. If they can get 4, then their sieging power is already going to be enhanced. If they're able to get 5, that'll be even better, of course. But first Dragon secured for G2, 2 grubs off the back of that, they're not going to be complaining.
Still though, Hans Armour now alone in the spot side will give a little bit of push power to JackeyLove, so he's able to get a place. Realistically, I think you're going to be looking to see how Yike influences on the bottom side of the map again, because with Dragon in 3 minutes time, I think you kind of go for a full clear, reset, and then look for a play on boss. Try and burn a summoner spell on JackeyLove before Dragon comes in.
Oh, 369 going aggressive here towards his top side of the map. Doesn't find the third Q. Still goes all out, though. His hook shot, max range there from Broken Blade, gets him out of there just fine. In the meantime, here towards the bottom side of the map, you've got more action. Zenith Blade gets Mickey in there. A lot of damage onto Meiko, but it's returned onto Hans Armour as well. Yike coming down. Trigger Seed not going to land.
JackeyLove is 1 minion off of 6. If he had had that in that last fight, that could have been a 1-team fight, or a 1 skirmish, I should say, for Top Esports. G2 playing within a very narrow window, and you'll see as he secures this minion, that tick over means this Varus is now a lot more threatening.
I think it will give good advantages to G2 though. With the cleanse being down, you've got the opportunity for Mickey to try and play for that on a repeat play, and especially as he starts to tick over to level 6 himself, I think that's where we're really going to start to see that aggression come in on the bottom side. And let's be real, BB, yes, he's behind at the moment, but he's fine to just continue to farm up and get to his 2 items as Creme.
Yeah, going in aggressive, not really finding too much there as Cap's able to whittle in a few more auto attacks. Explosive Charge going to even out the trade very nicely for the Tristana, and Cap's continuing just to farm things up in the mid lane, ahead by about a wave.
The only downside for Creme is the Vamp Scepter pickup from Caps is going to give him so much sustained, paired alongside the Fleet Footwork. Means that he's going to be able to ramp that back up. Miky, of course, as we know, the primary carry in the bot lane, gets funneled that gold, as you would expect. 1-0-2 scoreline for him. But G2, a 1K gold lead, I think to the surprise of many, given that 2 out of the 3 analyst desk members did predict Top Esports to win. They did expect a close series, so perhaps not that much of a surprise, but we'll see if Top Esports can bounce back. They clearly aren't too concerned about the deficit they find themselves in now. The Dragon spawning in a minute's time. Caps.
Well, yeah, Caps just going to have to buffer the rocket jump. Does so very nicely halfway through the Emperor's Divide. And now Daisy's going to make her way out onto the mid lane. Still, Caps going to have to flash this on a busted shot. Doesn't even get the auto off. Oh no, and now Creme could be in trouble. Yike looking for another one, and there it is. Hansama locks down the kill. Has to flash, but that'll get him out of dodge. And G2 are just taking names all over the place.
I didn't even know that was possible.
And that was like 3 in a row of things that shouldn't have been very possible.
Caps? You flashed the dash, you then knocked him back when he tried to flash over the wall and auto you, like, what the hell was that?
I don't know what you mean. I was expecting this from Caps all day long.
Yeah.
That's just another Wednesday for Caps, I guess. Yeah.
I think it is insane, though, to see how well this man is playing. Because when you look back at last year, the confidence was completely gone. But this is the most confidence you can have as a player. Buffers the jump. Then as they start to come through, Tian does end up hitting the Wind Becomes Lightning, but Caps is kind of just waiting to bait because he knows that his bot lane is on the way. Flashes over the wall. Buster shot because he still keeps the vision because Yike is over the wall. And then the slow from the seed, the shield, on Yike, on his ultimate there, onto Daisy, ends up setting things up perfectly.
While that was happening, of course, 369 forcing the all-in against Broken Blade. This 1v1 not going the way the Broken Blade would have liked. Of course, conceding that early kill, giving that early armor over to 369 is working out very nicely for him. Meiko might be in a bit of danger.
Going aggressive. There is the Shield of Daybreak onto Meiko, who's now taking a lot of damage as that explosive charge does go off. Creme, though, full health off to the side is going to mean that Meiko will survive for the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Dragon, though, because it has just spawned. You can see G2 trying to get control of the area. Hansama playing aggressive on bot side. Top Esports do control mid-wave, so Caps would be a little late, but no flash on Creme does make him quite vulnerable in these plays. So I think Top Esports is going to have to try and play very safe for their mid laner. You can see they're trying to do just that.
Yeah, Miky moving on in. Gets a whole bunch of information, but not going to look for an engage just yet. Arrow going to go wide. And the Dragon has been continued here by G2. They retain control.
BB's TP is just up slightly before 369, so if they've time to ride as G2, they should be able to get BB into any sort of fight, which is why Dragon has now been started, and the push on mid, our bot side has been gained.
Yep, BB also now just turning back up in lane. Tian trying to figure out exactly where that Dragon is. They are now looking for the rear exit. And TES will make their way forward. Okay, Daisy getting involved first as the Dragon going down very low. In goes Miky, Solar Flare is going to land, and there goes the jungler. Immediately Tian is dead, and now Jackie in the background. It's Caps that's on the board. Meiko now just a reset away, and the Goomba stops will continue. Caps just going to finish off a bunch of extra kills. Hansama gets his 4th of the game, and it's all coming up G2.
Top Esports stepped in blind, and G2 just leap out of the bushes on them. G2, we saw them perform against T1, but now showing up against Top Esports as well. They're playing incredibly.
I mean, Hansama silencing a lot of the doubters right now, 4-0-2. We look at the initiation, it's Yike and Miky on the front line. They lock down Tian, and look at this chain CC. He doesn't get an opportunity to move, and Caps locks onto his target. He sees JackeyLove, eliminates him, and then it's just a cleanup.
And it's again where we kind of look at Tian on the non-tank picks, and he's not able to get his ultimate off. He thinks he's able to tank that a little bit too much and ends up going down as a result. And on this, Xin Zhao hasn't really had the impact that you would want in the early stages and ends up losing out now on the Dragon fight as well. But Miky and Co on this top side, 369 is so low.
Ooh, hookshot not quite going to get the stun onto 369, but Miky and Hans just waiting in the wings, just looking to get some extra plates before they do wear off. Only 30 seconds left on those, and they will be able to grab a few last-minute ones.
So the swap coming through from G2, as you rightly said, Atlus just primarily looking to funnel some plates into this bot lane. A 1.9k gold lead for Hansama, going for the Blade of the Ruin King build that we often see him go for. A 1k gold lead in mid, and G2 overall 8 kills to 1. when I think back to that series against Gen G, when JackeyLove was put behind, Top Esports struggled to put up that same level of a fight. He is kind of their pillar, their superstar, and obviously the rest of Top Esports can have games that they don't rely on JackeyLove to win, but putting him behind never really helps them.
But 369 isn't going to be great either.
He's not going to be having the greatest of times still. He's Ksante, so struggles to be in too many dangerous positions, just with the fact that he is that champion.
I mean, if you can get this Rift Herald as G2, this ends up worthwhile. You're going to get the top tower in a little bit. You'll be a little bit behind the temple in the play, but Rift Herald means that you can probably blow up mid as well with the damage that Caps has done onto that mid lane structure too. And when you think of what G2 wants to do, which is, hey, we can skirmish, but play for a 1-3-1, getting these opportunities to get things like Rift Herald is going to be really big.
Well, they are going to be able to set up for it. That is the Rift Herald going down. Yike collects the eye. And they should be able to use this to break the mid lane outer turret you would expect. G2, I do like the amount of win conditions this composition has, because you can play for side lanes like you were talking about, but I do really like their team fight as well. The amount of pick potential on a single target is just ridiculous, and that starts all of those resets going. I think in 5v5s it works out, and in the split push it works out, and having multiple win conditions is always so strong in League of Legends.
But also, the great thing about Ivern is, sure, you provide a lot of utility, but Daisy's just a good frontline.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people like to ignore her, but if you do, she just is annoying. Like, she's like a mini Ksante in a way because of her triple knockback, right?
Hey,
and
yeah,
so,
the Daisy third Q.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you have Mickey and Yike that can play this front-to-back comp, and as long as Caps and Hansama aren't at risk of getting dived, which against this comp from Top Esports they're not, like, you're right in that G2 just have a lot of freedom, and Top Esports have some elements of scaling because they have the Azir, but I think the longer this game goes on, the better it is for G2.
And also just the lack of control that they really have over the middle wave is doing so much for G2. Caps constantly having push, leaning into his side lanes is making it really tough for, you see here, Top Esports to defend these outer structures. JackeyLove and Meiko weren't sure whether they needed to assign themselves the mid lane to protect the push from Caps or protect their top lane turret. G2 doing a really good job of playing off their lane states right now.
369 going aggressive. Yike going to turn up in the nick of time though. The hookshot comes down. There's the Hextech ultimatum Q. That's going to get him out of there with the all out. As now 369 just going to get taken down. Tian going to get the flash out from Yike, but that might be all he gets as Daisy's getting amongst it. Now Caps will finally turn up. The ultimate's going to be there, but it's not going to save anything. And there's another beautiful buffer from Caps to grab the double.
An overextension from 369 means that Top Esports trying to protect their top laner, trying to turn something around, results in another 3 kills for G2. Incredible positioning from Caps. He plays the team fight perfectly, and he wipes Top Esports off the map once more.
And now you've got 35 seconds until the next dragon is up. That's going to be third dragon for G2. And honestly, with the Rift Herald in tow as well, you just get to reset, spend all the gold you picked up, come back out onto the map, threaten this bot tower and the mid tower at the same time. G2 are smoking Top Esports in the early stages.
It's a near perfect game.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm going to need to go and find Spawn because I know he's here. He's the one that defined shellacking. And I think that we're pretty close to shellacking territory, and that's not what I was expecting for this series. I think a lot of people thinking that this one was going to be very, very close. This is not looking close at all.
I mean, not to talk past this game that much, but G2 have introduced another curveball with the Ivern. You know, there was the Rek'Sai, there's the Zac, there's all these picks that teams are finding ways to deal with, the Poppy being the other big one. And now they've just introduced another one.
I thought that was a Fate's call, but it wasn't. He was just going
curious
into
how
the
Top
Rift Herald.
Esports adapt as the series goes on. Of course, they still have a chance in this game. It's not all doom and gloom, but as we did mention, the scaling still feels like it's in favor of G2 the longer this game goes on.
The big adaptation I want to see is... Oh, hang on.
369 could be in trouble yet again. Broken Blade, though, not quite winning the trade just yet. Needs this Tristana to turn up as rocket jump just to get him amongst it. Q going to miss, though, thankfully, because of a hook shot, and Broken Blade gets out. And that is another kill. In the meantime, Hansama, he's dead on this bottom side. Yike's on a killing spree, though, because Creme has also fallen down. Mickey diving in one more time. I'm not sure about that one, but he's battle Leona, and Broken Blade at the flank angle. Jackie will be taken down, and now Top Esports find themselves with only a jungler. He's knocked up. Daisy's gone ridiculous, and audacious or not, that charge ain't doing squat. G2 will ace them.
G2 That's 2 supports! You're not supposed to fight with an Ivern and a Leona! That's like League of Legends 101! But somehow, they make it work! They get the kills! BB comes in to save the day! And G2 are taking over everything on the map. Caps, though.
Yeah, that buffer not quite working out here as 269 does have his claws in the Tristana. There's the flash. The Mega Cone should get the Tristana out of there, and it will.
G2, though, finding fights across the board. Caps moving up to help support BB on the top side play, prevents anything from happening. And then this is the engage that we missed. Mickey gets on towards JackeyLove, but with Creme coming in over the side, there's nothing that he can really do. Good ultimates from Meiko to lock down Hanzama. But now this is 3v2 with 2 supports and a Daisy. The Rock is doing so much work.
The damage from Daisy's just crazy, isn't it? The fact that Mickey goes back in is just to buy time for the Camille. I was not expecting him to then also get a kill, but once Broken Blade arrives, it's just cleanup for G2.
Yeah, we were saying that it was a bad move. I think even if that teleport wasn't happening, if Mickey knew that he was just able to kill him, probably still worth. I don't know, I'm never doubting the man ever again.
The fact that you have to ban Poppy and Leona against Mickey is potentially a little bit of an issue, but I mean, this is just great from G2 again. It's focusing on, hey, how's the map set up in our favor? Like, yes, we've got a push from 369 on top side, but if we can match that, we can always have BB come in with the teleport to answer for the 4v4 on bottom side, and you can just play around the strength of already having so much damage across so many of your lanes.
Well, it's a 7,000 gold lead now, and as we have a look at the state of the game, it's 3.5 minutes until the next Dragon. Top Esports, we're grouped towards that bottom side, but I think this Baron is going to be the next port of call for G2. They're so far ahead that even though it is very early in the game, it is still going to be something that they can look towards, especially with the composition that they have. How many stacks are in that Forbidden Book that Yike has purchased, by the way,
25.
guys?
There are 25 stacks.
That's a pretty large amount of stacks.
That explains the damage now.
Yeah, how high does that go? I'm pretty
25.
Sure. Yeah, it's 25. Okay, good. Okay,
yeah, his novel is finished, and he's about to read his holy scriptures to Top Esports. That tower slowly disintegrating in front of G2 as a hook connects.
Yeah, that is going to land onto Caps. He still has the rocket jump available, uses it after the depth charge, and now you can see Mickey absorbing so much. Fate's Call was always there though, so G2 not going to have to live without their support as Broken Blade here towards the bottom side, just keeping the pressure up.
Great interrupt from Mickey on towards 369. 369 has the clear Q, but
Solar Flare gonna land right into the middle of Creme, and he will have to, you know, shift some sands, gets himself out, but
nice reset.
Yeah.
They don't get back, they don't get to protect their towers, they don't get to pass go. It's been a bit of a mess here for Top Esports.
G2's getting everything. Top Esports tried to find a pick, it didn't work out, and now the Baron is being started.
So they're not only splitting, but they're also threatening the Baron. 4-man strong on the objective. Vision now does go over to Top Esports, so they know what's going on, but there are bushes everywhere. In goes Creme, finds the Mega Cone, but Caps has once again buffered the rocket jump. He goes golden to keep himself alive, and now it's Top Esports finally finding themselves a team by Caps. He just cannot auto in the fight. BB wants to get one back, and he does kill JackeyLove, but that should be the last of it here, as Top Esports will not go down without a fight.
A massive blunder from G2. Broken Blade should be able to get away with his life, but by forcing the Baron, Yike actually gets taken out at the start of the fight. Some great team fighting from Caps, and Broken Blade keeps the Baron from being taken, but Top Esports showing their resilience in this game.
Still they're going to lose an inner turret here as Caps just comes on down, takes that one out. And now a teleport forward as Broken Blade looking for Tian. Meiko is here, lands himself the hook. Caps now looking for that flank angle as Tian's going to have to get over the wall. Broken Blade gets in there though. And Creme now doing battle with a Baron and a Broken Blade. 369
what is going
a little
on?
bit far away. And this is, I don't know, guys.
This isn't over. Caps has TP. They're just going to come back to the Baron. They just killed the jungler.
Wait, so that was the plan all along? Is that what you're telling me?
It's our plan.
It's definitely our plan.
And at least it is now, because Top Esports look just about as easy as we are.
Tian tries to steal a red buff, and he loses his life for it. A good TP from Broken Blade punishes the overextension. Caps on the flank as well means the G2, they got what they wanted. The Baron is secured, the Dragon Soul in 30 seconds.
The strategic take 3 turret shots in mid lane, take down inner turret, then flank to get your top laner a kill so that you can kill the enemy jungler and take a free Baron.
League of Legends 101, my friend. Textbook as all hell as yeah, I mean, look, this was a little bit of a whoopsie from G2. The fact that you get to kill off the Ivern nice and easy. Caps really can't get into this fight because Creme did go golden, but as he buys so much time to keep Caps at bay, they're able to deal with the rest. Nice job here by Broken Blade to pick off JackeyLove and get away, because the fact that he was able to TP back in is really what salvages that play. Gets the kill on Tian, works then with Caps having the teleport himself. So a little bit of a misstep, but G2 able to make it work.
Yep, now they're just looking for a soul. This should go their way as well. It's a 10,000 gold lead at 24 minutes. Tian gonna get Hextech ultimatum, but does immediately break it. That's just not gonna be enough to get him out of dodge though, and Broken Blade gonna grab that kill. Jungler goes down, Drake is gonna be secured here. And now we got 6 minutes until an Elder as G2 walk down with their cool new Chemtech soul.
And what the hell does this mean for the series now? Because you got what you want to Top Esports. JackeyLove on Varus has been your bread and butter. Creme, one of his champions that he does enjoy is this Azir, and you've got a Ksante for 369. This has been the go-to for Top Esports for the majority of the split. And now they look dizzy. Like, G2 have completely wiped them here.
I think there's a certain Yordle gunner that I think is going to have a little bit of higher priority as this series goes on. We know it's so good for Creme, and Caps is just having a day out on the Tristana today.
Let's not forget that this started with a Hans Summer MikyX 2v2 straight up kill. 2-0 is how they started this.
I don't have anything for that. Like, that was not on the bingo card. It's not. I'm not ready to talk about it.
Like, don't get me wrong, that no one expected this series to start off with Hans and Mickey straight up 2v2 killing Jackie and Meiko. Jackie, he's got to be really careful here. But he has had zero impact in this game. That last team fight was very nice from Top Esports. Their coordination, the fact that they were able to one-shot Yike and turn it into a one-team fight was great, but they've got to be thinking about game 2 now. Baron still 30 seconds left. G2 have strong siege, and they set their eyes on the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, I think the thing I want to see from Top Esports is, you know, a little bit of adaptation on the top side. We've seen this Ksante for 369 a lot, but oh, actually, hang on.
All right, yeah, Emperor's Divide is going to put, I believe that's Caps, underneath the turret. He survives for a long time, and now Baby makes his way in. They trade mid laners, and G2 are now running amok in the team fight. Solar Flare gonna slow down JackeyLove for the moment, and G2 continue coming forward. Top Esports gonna have to give up their base structures here, as there's a minion wave in mid lane as well. It's going to be an inhibitor on the top side, and yes, you managed to kill Caps, but that is all they're going to get, as G2 will destroy their base. There's another Zenith Blade in as Mickey tanking a couple of turrets. He doesn't seem like he minds about it at all, as he's now just backing away. Fate's Call isn't available, and so he did actually have to walk his way out, and they will now go for a reset.
2 inhibitors down. I love the resilience that we're seeing from Top Esports, still able to find these picks where they can. We look back at this, Caps pushing alongside Mickey. Okay, Caps, that was... All right, Caps, he tries to insec Creme. I mean, he makes it happen, I will admit. But you can tell that Caps is in a good mood when he's making these sorts of plays. He knows the gold lead that they have, and his teammates are there to back him up.
And the thing is, like, as soon as he makes that play, Creme puts himself in a dangerous position as well. And if you're going 1-for-1 and you're this far ahead with every other lane at the same time, it's definitely a good news story. And as you can see, the base in absolute tatters. G2 now moving towards his bottom side. 369. He might be Ksante, but I don't think he's getting out of this one. And Caps, wow, okay, yeah, that's a, well, not really. Lord Dominic's Regard, it's apparently this really cool item that does cut down a tank, even if they do build a bunch of armor. Caps has one of those, and a whole bunch of other items as well.
I know you don't really have any other backup tank. Yes, you've kind of got Meiko, but when you're only level 10 versus this onslaught from G2, how do you try and defend this?
You'll notice Broken Blade walking in the mid wave as well to add his extra pressure, trying to split up the wave clear from Top Esports. Broken Blade even threatening an end on this Camille. Here they go.
Yeah, there he goes. They do manage to find the stun onto Creme with the Solar Flare, but the Zenith Blade is going to miss. Hook from Meiko, though, puts him in, but out of threat for the moment. And G2, they're just going to be focused on making sure that this is as impossible as possible to actually defend the siege.
It's a minute until Baron as well, so I think G2 just keep conga lining these minion waves in, and they can
okay, last-ditch effort as the teleport is coming in. Meiko does find himself a hook, but Mickey immediately executes him. Another phenomenal buffer here from Caps with the rocket jump, and now getting himself into position. Hansama's the one that's able to take down the tank, though, and I think G2 are just a little bit too far ahead. These wallets are so heavy, and they're going to use them to knock down these turrets and take game 1 in the series.
Caps is styling almost done with the rocket jump. It's a stylish game for G2, and just like that, they're 1-up in the series.
He flashed the FPX logo.
Yep.
If he's not feeling himself, I don't know who is. G2 with a confident game 1 in this series.
That was decimation by G2. The fact that, like you say, it all started with a bottom lane 2v2 kill. From that point on, it looked all too difficult for Top Esports, but that is enough from us. It's time to throw it over to the analysts to see how shell-shocked they are after that victory for G2.
Well,